Hey everybody, Dustin DePurak here, coming to you from Beaver Stadium. Final score today, Penn State 45, Indiana 22. Indiana's postseason bowl game hopes officially done. Loss number 7, so they go into the bucket game next week playing just for pride, and I guess the hope of making sure that Purdue itself doesn't have a postseason. And another game in which Indiana really kind of walked away from this feeling like there was a lot of missed opportunities and a lot of just basic plays that they failed to make. Matt McGloin and Allen Robinson basically were able to throw it all over them, but there was a large part because of shortcomings that Indiana had, failings to just make some basic tackles. One play that really broke the game open was a 53-yard touchdown sort of catch and run that Allen Robinson had 53 yards that put in Penn State up for good, 14-10 at the time. And he was behind the line. There was a couple guys that had a chance at him behind the line of scrimmage, weren't able to bring him down. He managed to sneak out and just outrun everybody for 53 yards. A couple different plays like that where Indiana just kind of failed to make tackles. So another game where they just give up a really significant amount of yards in this one. Final total 546. Not quite as bad as what you saw last week from Wisconsin, but still pretty bad. And Penn State was able to throw it a lot. 395 yards in the day for Matt McGloin, who becomes the second all-time leading passer in Penn State history, has the most touchdowns now in Penn State history, which is wild to consider considering where that kid came from. But Penn State also able to run for well over 100 yards, about 150, actually 194. And basically that was critical as well. Penn State was just able to move the ball in just about every fashion, and just hang 45 points. A whole bunch of situations where they needed to get drives, they were able to. Indiana failed on a lot of occasions to convert. In critical situations, they were three for 17 on third down conversions today. Missed a lot, left a lot out there. Cam Coffman threw for 454 yards, which is close to a school record, just short, about 26 yards short of what Ben Chappell did a couple years ago at Michigan, but still really had a rough day. It was 33 for 59. Didn't look nearly as good as his numbers indicated. In a lot of cases, just failed to make critical throws on third downs. Missing wide receivers, guys that were open, or just plays that didn't necessarily go well. Even at the end of the game, he had a chance to throw one touchdown just to make it a little bit more respectable. Failed to do that. Missed Anthony Casaro pretty bad. Real high on that. Had just a couple throws that were kind of off. Kevin Wilson didn't want to go to Nate Sudfeld on this one because apparently when he said he was nicked up last week, he actually had a concussion. Missed practice Monday, and Wilson said he was cleared, he was good to go, but they didn't feel really good about it. They felt it was too much of a risk to try it again. So they stuck with Kaufman the whole time. And again, he had obviously made some plays through for a bunch of yards, but was inconsistent in certain scenarios, just a little bit uneven, just a little bit off. And yet again, Indiana fails to run the ball. It's been now 3 straight games they've failed to even get 70, let alone 100. Held to just 24 yards this time on 26 attempts. Basically, some of those were, because of a bad snap, went for -20. But all the same, they, really had a hard time moving the ball on the ground. Have for several weeks now. They haven't gotten 70 since the Illinois game. So Illinois, Wisconsin, and Penn State have all held them under 70. So that's something difficult. They've had a hard time just blocking. I mean, they've managed to keep Cam Coffman mostly standing up, but there was a little bit weaker sort of day for the Indiana offensive line today, and again they've just really struggled to run the ball. Again defensively, just a lot of issues again that just keep going back to some of the basics. I mean, it appears they've gotten better, but you can't really tell it right now, especially just after they've given well over 1,000 yards the last 2 weeks, so close to 1,100. So one thing Kevin Wilson did point out is just to say, at least they've got a real rivalry game. They do go with Purdue next week. Not exactly sure what Purdue's doing against Illinois today, but that at least is something that they have something to fight for. At least they don't have a long time where they can just sit around and not have anything valuable to play for. They do have the bucket game, and obviously, as we've said before, considering this was a 1-11 team a year ago, the fact that they're even in, they even have 4 wins that can, quadrupled their win total already, have a chance to have just 5 times as many wins as they did a year ago. But it definitely stings for this team. Greg Heben talked about it a little bit that if you win that game against Ball State, if you win that game against Navy, there's 2 games that were obviously eminently winnable. 2-point loss to Ball State, and 1 point loss to Navy. And then they're bowl eligible already, and 2 games they very much could have won. So they're definitely looking at today and just considering all the missed opportunities and the things that they just were not able to do. So that's pretty much it for me. And keep with us this week. We'll be in Brooklyn tomorrow. We'll drive to Brooklyn tomorrow, and we'll be there Monday and Tuesday. So stick with us. Thanks a lot.